Okay, everybody. I think we're back. We're going to apologize for the delay here. We're going to try to get everybody reset. So welcome to Three Beards Podcast. My name is Craig. I'm without Chris and Austin right now. We had some technical difficulties. We are interviewing author, podcaster Hadley Thorne from the Weird Realities. This has been an interview I've really been looking forward to, and it's been a nice little delay, but we're right into it. So Hadley, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good, Craig.
All right. So like I said, I can hear you. So that's the thing that means the most right now. That's the part that's the best. So we're getting everybody, like I said, is we're getting it shared out there again, so that way everybody can catch in. So first off, when you sent me a sample of the book that you want, Tapestry of Worlds. And I really enjoyed that book. I know you really want some feedback, and I told you to me it kind of felt like True Blood meets Assassin's Creed, the video game. The way the second one read out, just because of the way you had these. I don't want to give too much of a plot away here. You had people going basically into the system to visit this other area, and it just all came out that way, and I really enjoyed it.
I had a really good time writing that, and that's the Tapestry of Worlds Part 2, and it's just like a little novella that I wrote. After I wrote the first book, I got a lot of feedback from my fans that they wanted to ship my girl Erica with the wrong guy, and her heart of hearts is in the military and he's off on mission. And so I just kind of tried to pull that together so people could kind of get an idea of the man behind her heart, so to speak, and what he was doing. And so it kind of tied together. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was really good. Like I said, it's just without making it sound like, it's like, oh, this, blowing smoke. I mean, I really did like the way that, just the way it was written. I mean, and I checked out the first one too, and said, even though you were more concerned that wasn't enough for, really for the guys thing, I liked that one as well. I mean, I thought they were really well done. I really liked the universe that you created in this story. And so I'm looking forward to when the third one, because that's going to be, like I said, it's one of those, I can really definitely see this being, a pretty decent series. And like I said, so I'm hoping that more people, check this out, because it's really well done.
Well, I think that's the problem I've had, is finding the right reader. I don't really know how, because it does cross over so many different genres. It's got your apocalypse, it's got your military science fiction, it's got your fantasy, and it's got, urban fantasy. So it's just a little bit of everything, but that's just kind of how my mind works. So.
And then, yeah, Jamie's glad we're back on. We are too. Let me tell you, I'm glad we're back.
Hey, Jamie.
Oh my goodness. It's like, yep. And then M.A. Allen, one beard and a Southern gal. So before I get too far, like I said, I wanted to really, we got to do justice here too. And I'm going to share this on screen for everybody here. We have, go to, there's her website. You've got hadleythorne.com. This shows about the book we're talking about right now, the Tapestry of Worlds, Part 1 and Part 2. There is a third one coming, as we just alluded to. That you can also, for easy, and I actually like this. I think I want to see us doing something like this too. I like the way you did the Weird Realities link tree.
Yes, and I have one for my personal stuff too, which is Hadley_Thorne.
And it's really like this too. And kind of while I'm here, what started the Weird Realities? Where you came up? Did you come up with this with a couple other people, just yourself, and then other people joined in? I mean, how did this come about?
Everything's tied together in my mind. So weird is a Norse term for fate, but it's weird. And I like all the weird stuff. I like the paranormal. So it was just a really good take on weird for weird realities. And that's just kind of where we came with it. Three Weird Sisters is my publishing company that we use. So it's all about the three weird,
Yeah, I really liked it. And it was one of those, I really, I'm so hard on myself when it comes to the artwork. I really tried to embrace that stuff with some stuff like when I promoted for the show, because I really I like the way the Weird Realities Inc., where if please correct me because I'm probably going to get it wrong, but this is where you try to focus on other authors.
Yes. And I'll tell you, the Weird Realities, the idea of it came from when my editor, Gracie Ellison, and I were sitting around talking about the weird stuff that kind of triggers our creative juices. And from there, because it was kind of a way to launch me before the book came out, I thought, well, what a nice way to give back. And then, Mark Eddy came into the picture, and he gave me some really great contacts. And so we just started doing the interviews. And from there, we did I wanted to do like a cross film into the fiction and all that. So we did the Army of the Dead. We did a panel. I wanted to do a panel of subject matter experts. So I gathered these great zombie fiction authors and got them together, and we all watched the movie ahead of time, and then we got together and talked about it. And so that kind of bred it over to bringing the more fiction writers in. And so we've grown since then. My team grew. A lot of the people like Jamie Hernandez, Alan Gamboa, Jeff Thompson, Scott Baker, they were really excited about the vision of what I was building and came on board. And so it's been great because no one person has everything owned on. We just kind of share the responsibilities, kind of like spokes in a wheel. Mm-hmm. And it's been great. So from there, we do Weird Realities, which now is kind of a round table where we talk about a weird topic. Like we've talked Nazis, we've talked Operation High Jump. We've actually had the author.
That was a good one.
I really wish we had gotten to talk more with Brian, but I'm hoping he'll come back. But Brian Parker wrote a great book called Operation High Jump. It's Grudge Operation High Jump, I think. And it was a fictitious account of Operation High Jump. And it was great. And so we get together and we talk about those weird things, because obviously if you read Brian's book, he did a lot of research into the background with what that was all about. And it was like, this is it. These are people who are getting what I'm talking about. And from there, we started doing Watching Weird, because Alan, Jeff, and I, we like horror movies. And so we like bad horror movies. So it just became a fun thing. And that's really taken off. And we're doing that weekly now.
Yeah, and that was kind of my first, for you shared it, and I started watching it, and I really liked it. I mean, it was just one, because it was a nice stroll down memory lane, talking about just the really cheesy sci-fi, and all the little odds, the ones like you get those, the people's like stories, like they go here. I mean, I just forgot the name of the one again. It's the one where the enemy in the thing, that adversary was the beach ball, just this floating beach ball that you could see on a string, wire that was hanging out there. I mean, and those are the ones that those have such a nostalgia behind them when you're watching these things. And you guys, and I said, you guys were kind of like a new version of Mystery Science Theater 3000. You guys had kind of your own comments, you had your own takes, and that's what I was really enjoying about that show.
Well, we have a good time. Like I said, we're doing it more often. Occasionally we'll have another group come in. The crew from Where in the Folk, Cecil and Tully, came in. Mark, you're so funny. But they came in and did a show last week with Alan and Jeff, and they had a lot of fun. So it's good that it's just constantly moving forward. But tomorrow night we're actually doing one. We have watched the Fear Street trilogy on Netflix, so we're going to be talking about that. And I tell everybody it's nothing but spoilers because we're just a bunch of geeks that are talking about movies we like. But
well, and I'm telling you, it's like it's so funny. It's kind of isn't that kind of the case? I think with anybody you're critical of your own stuff. You were saying it's just I'm just not sure. I'm like, no, you guys have a really, really fantastic show. I mean, it's really entertaining, and I hope it takes off and you guys really start gaining traction on it because you guys have really good chemistry, especially talking with. I mean, it was a really fantastic show.
Well, thanks, because like I said, we all really like each other, and I think that's important. Recently, in the last week, we brought in a lady by the name of Morgana Calder, and she's like someone who has researched the occult and paranormal for 30-something years. So I found that we kind of had a lot of people coming on the show, and I was the only one that was really interested in pursuing those type of topics. So I brought her in now, and she did a great interview with a guy by the name of Anthony Tyler the other day. So I don't know if you've had Anthony on your show, but he's great. He wrote a book called The Dive Manual, and it's like esoteric teachings, and it's just really cool. But that's one of the best shows that we've had, and I had no part of it. It's just having a good team, which you know how that is.
Well, exactly. We've kind of, just one of those things like with Joey and Tanya, Mark, Eddy, we've got this group where now I feel like I'm being presumptuous here, but I feel like I can include you in that list where it's just, this is something where we've built this group that there's no, like, this is mine, this is yours. We don't have stake in this. I feel like it's so cool to have this group where I'm just as excited to see Joey and Tanya and you succeed as I am in something. I mean, I just, when you guys see, I mean, I want you guys to see that time where one of these times I look on there and you guys have hit 100 viewers, and I'm like, I'm absolutely ecstatic about that. And it's not one of those like, oh, I wish I had that.
It's not like that at all. And that's why I like y'all. I mean, working with good people and working around good people, you attract good things. And like I said, Weird Realities has been around for 9 months, and we're doing great. I mean, we've done way more than I thought we would do. I mean, I was happy when we had 20 fans on Twitter, and now we're coming up on maybe 16 or 1700. So,
I wish I had that. No, I'm serious. I actually do wish I had that. We're at like 400. I'm still ecstatic about that. I'm like, I'm at 404. I'm like, yes.
Yeah. Well, I never thought that it would be this big. I was happy. I'm not a Twitter person. So when I got on Twitter, it was, I didn't know how to do it or what. We're doing great, which I think I've told you this before, but when we did our first Watching Weird, one of the movies that we did was we did Aquarium of the Dead, and I think it was Psycho Gorman. And so I tweeted it. The director of Aquarium of the Dead tweeted me back and asked if he could come on the show. And I was like, what? So that was crazy. And we did not catch back up before the show aired, but he came on and he did a one-on-one interview with us.
Oh, that's fantastic.
It was awesome. And it was really, he did Zombies 1 and 2 and Aquarium of the Dead. His name is Glenn Miller. It was fabulous. It was a great interview. He gave us a lot of insight. Well, not even a week later, Hilton Ariel Ruiz contacted me. And he is the creative mind, director, and producer of the indie film Zombie with a Shotgun.
Oh, really?
The guy's got 278,000 followers on Twitter. He got his movie, Zombie with a Shotgun. It was started off as a web series that he was just creating. And from there, he got it crowdfunded. It's now on Tubi and Amazon. And his fans paid for him to film this movie. And he's starting to kind of get people together to do a crowdfunding for Zombie with a Shotgun too. But he's done a comic book series. He's done a game, and it's just incredible. But he came on our show, and he's again, one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. And he's all about sharing what he did and how he grew his fan base. And he said, I'm just as shocked as anybody else.
Wow.
That this took off.
I think that's probably one of the coolest things is when you meet somebody that you think of and they end up being as cool, if not more than you hoped that they would be, because there's nothing worse than meeting somebody that you think is a hero and find out they're just an absolute tool or jerk when you want to talk to them. I mean, it's so crushing when you're like, oh, I'd love to meet this person, and I'm glad I should have just not.
Well, again, I've been lucky. I have met some of my favorite authors in the last couple of months, and it is incredible. Alan Gamboa is awesome. He's one of the best writers I've ever read. Everybody should read his stuff. He's writing movies. He's awesome. Alan is awesome.
Well, there we go. Yeah. Well, Alan, thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's.
But no, I've come across just a number of really incredible, giving people who really want to see you succeed, and that's what the indie community is all about. I'm seeing with film as well as in the writing community, but it's great.
Yeah, and that was one too. It's just I never saw us getting into this interviewing authors, and originally when we started this, and it really branched off. I mean, Mark Eddy was one that really took us in this direction, with his contacts that he had. And I found that I really like it because otherwise I don't know if I can't envision any scenario where I would have met you or somebody else in this aspect. And that's, for me, that's really, really cool. And so I absolutely like it. I mean, it's one of those, the beauty of StreamYard, the internet, is the fact that we can have these conversations that we wouldn't have been able to have before.
Oh, definitely. And then, Mark Eddy is the key master. He's bringing everyone together, or the gatekeeper. I guess that's what it is.
Well, that's the thing. Who's a gatekeeper and who's a key master? that's you guys need to have that. Like a Ghostbusters marathon. I'm all over that one. That's is Rick Moranis. I think that was actually one of his best roles myself. Other than that, it's Spaceballs.
Spaceballs.
Yeah, Dark Helmet. Come on, it's just who doesn't like that little tie on Dark Helmet and stuff. Yeah, yeah. That's what we could get digressed on the whole thing about the spoof movies, but that one, I'm going to digress right here. We were just down at Disney Springs, down here near Disney World. We were walking around. We went into the Disney store, and they have these Yoda dolls. They look like yogurt from Spaceballs. They're supposed to be this little different version, but just the way they're made, they look like yogurt. It's fantastic. I saw that. She's like, it looks like a troll. I'm like, no, it looks like yogurt from Spaceballs. I'm like, this is awesome. So, no, it's, yep, Zaul. Yep, Zaul. Yeah, that was a good movie. That was. So there you go. You guys have to do Ghostbusters. Come on, please. I'm begging. Do Ghostbusters.
If we do it, you'll have to come on.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Let me know. Like I said, I think that would be fantastic because I just that was a good one.
We're doing a 13 weeks to Halloween countdown.
Okay.
So after that, we'll definitely do it.
Yeah. Just give me a little notice. Like I said, and I'll put on the schedule in there. But enough about me. We're supposed to be talking about you. All right. So what led you in? Have you always been a fan of the zombie fiction, the zombie stories, or is that something that you've just more like a recent turn where you've really enjoyed? Because I've noticed there's a lot of people that you're associated with are real, they're heavy zombie centered.
Yes. Actually, I did not really get into the zombie genre until 2017. And I ended up, I had some surgery done, and I was looking for some like Audible stuff to listen to. And I found a book series called The Book of Riley, 1 through 5. And they were just these little short stories. And so when I was in the hospital, I read them. And it's about these 2 dogs, American bulldog, a cat, and a Yorkshire Terrier that are in the midst of the zombie apocalypse, and they're trying to protect their family. And I thought, well, this looks like something that's going to make me laugh. And it was hilarious. But I really liked the way the author was able to capture the Yorkie's temperament. And
That's awesome.
You know, it was hilarious because he would just bark, bacon, 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 you know, and the cat's reaction was just what I think a cat would say. And, you know, it was just hilarious. And so I found the sense of humor of the author very interesting. He wrote, and he's still writing, he's an independent author by the name of Mark Tufo, and he's written a series called Zombie Fallout. And I started that first book, and I went through every book he had. He's hilarious. Oh, really? It was a lot of, and that's the zombie stuff I really like. Somebody asked today, like, what are your favorite zombie movies? Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse, Shaun of the Dead. You know, those are the ones I like. I like Evil Dead 2. I like something it's going to make me laugh as much as it's, you know, going to terrorize me. But that's when I got into the apocalypse, and I had always been afraid of zombies. And I've had a zombie apocalypse plan since I was a kid in the 80s. So
I think we all did.
All us weirdos did.
Mm-hmm. It's like, what are we going to do in this instance?
It just happens. So when it started becoming a big genre, like I said, I wasn't really on board with reading all the books. And then when I was sick, I found that I got really into apocalyptic fiction and pandemic zombie fiction. And I think it was because at that point in my life, I realized, oh, it could be a lot worse. You could have zombies, you know? So it was just kind of segued into that. So
now, have you ever watched the show Black Summer?
Yes.
Okay, so kind of like when you're saying like the plan, you know, I'm watching the show, and the whole time like they're running by, it's like, okay, there was a weapon, there was a weapon, there was a weapon. I mean, there's all these things to battle them off. I mean, I don't want to spoil the show, but like the poor dude that was in the grocery store, I'm just like, how inept can you honestly be? I felt bad. I almost felt bad. I mean, you have all these tools, and it's just like you can't seem to ever get anything right. Although it was the fire station. That's the part first.
I think that in an honest to God zombie apocalypse, I think that people are going to be so shocked. We should do a Black Summer show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so too. It's been pretty good. It's one of those, and I think kind of like what you're just saying. I think that's what it was. Is where I think in a way that character capsulized what a lot of people would do. You know, they think they have a plan, and then it's like everything just falls apart. They just go into a panic.
Well, if you think about it, if you were walking down the road, let's say you're going into the grocery store, and you see somebody fall over and someone's attacking them, your first reaction is going to be to help that person, to pull that person off of them. Well, if that person's a zombie, it's very easy for you to get bit. I mean, that's not where you're going with that mentally. So I always find it interesting, the people who are looking at it from a realistic point of view. And then there's some people, you know, it's all about shoot 'em ups, or, you know, everybody's the best shot in the world and you can run and shoot a gun and, you know, hit someone, you know, 25 zombies running after you with a 6-shot pistol. So that's not realistic. What are you going to do?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, it was one of those, because like I said, he had everything. He had the axe. He had all this stuff at his disposal, and you're looking at it, and you're like, wow. But I agree. It's that, I think with Alan, it's like you guys should do it. Kind of do it. One of those things on it, because to me, in a way, I felt like that show was a little bit more. I'm going to probably get hate mail for this one, but a little bit better than Walking Dead in the beginning.
I rewatched Walking Dead when I was in graduate school, and I will say that the second time around, it was a lot more interesting than the first time.
Okay, so
But it did get to a point where I lost interest in what was going on with the show. But the first couple of seasons, they were actually really good.
Yeah, I think it got a lot more to, you know, Negan. You had to get a lot more over the top to keep people interested.
Well, the reality of it is, in any apocalyptic situation, the worst thing you're going to have to overcome is going to be people.
Yep.
But I think that's where they win it. But there wasn't enough zombies, and I don't know. So.
Yeah, that was you always had that. There's always the horde. As I've noticed, that's a theme. There's a lot of them. Just the group, and I've always just wondered, kind of like zombies. At some point, that is it was a living organism at some point. I mean, it can't be a perpetual thing where it's constantly moves from here to eternity. So eventually they're going to have, everything's going to start shutting down. So I've always just hold out and just, wait for things to just start falling on their own, and then just kind of, go from there. But
well, and I will say that in a lot of the fiction that's out there right now, a lot of people are leaning towards like a viral reason for the zombies. They're not really like the zombies we grew up with. They're more like people who were sick, like 28 days later. That was the rage virus. And
yep. Yeah, I think it's one of those back in those news stories. What was a few years ago? Those people that are high on bath salts, and everybody was like, "Is this the time? Is this the zombie apocalypse starting?" And and nothing came of that. But it in the mind I'm sure for a few of us, we're like, "Yep, this is the moment we've been training for. People, get ready."
Well, that's what they did when the whole pandemic started.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, it's. We won't get too much into that because YouTube and Facebook will, pop the little bubble up on the screen. So it's like, we'll avoid that one. But yeah, it's that one. Like I said, I'm trying not to. This is. You're welcome to the mind of Craig. This is what I do. I wander. So it's
See,
Joey.
These are the conversations I love, Craig. This is your weird reality, and let me in.
Yes, you are, because this is the thing. It's I'm sure like Joey, I've taken him on as my mentor, and I'm sure it just drives it drives him crazy sometimes, because like I said, I'll try to have something like something like an outline and try to follow it, and I'll start here, and then next thing I'm off on a tangent. I can't help myself. I don't understand. So it's if anybody that hasn't watched it, you can follow them. You can go subscribe to them on YouTube, Weird Realities. Just the fantastic stuff that you guys are doing. I mean, I absolutely loved the discussions that you guys are having. I mean, I wish I had more time to watch everybody's shows. So I try to take in as much as I can of each one. But this is everybody, it's like there's something going on. I'm not sure what it is. It's like the last show, it could be our side, I keep lagging and stuff on me, but I think Hadley can hear me okay.
I can hear you fine.
Yeah, so I think it's just possibly like a Facebook issue, but it sounds like everything else is running fairly smooth. But that's one. With reading your books, I really, really enjoyed it. And it's one of those, the authors that you guys have you built an amazing group, and I'm really looking forward to seeing stuff like it. Just like Jamie, I mean, I interviewed her. Thanks that last time she jumped in last minute, to cut, when you weren't able to do it the last show, that she, we had a great talk, and that and that was somebody that's connected with you. I mean, it's just, you guys have an amazing group of people in your group.
And they're really supportive. And I'll tell you right now, Jamie's book is probably in the top 3 books selling in her genre right now. She's doing great. She's amazing.
Yeah, gratuitous plug. Suburban Jungle.
Yep.
By Jamie Hernandez. There you go. So you can get that on Amazon. And while you're on Amazon, that's a nice little look at that segue. Wow, good job. We'll segue into that. You go over here. There she is. We're talking. Click this follow. Click. And then there's a book, the Tapestry of Worlds books. Really, really well. I mean, for anybody that didn't catch the very beginning, I liken, especially book 2, it's like the True Blood series meets Assassin's Creed. And
I love that description.
Yeah, and that for me, that's the only way I can really describe it, because it's just the way that it all works. It all worked together, and it was really well done. I mean, because you pretty much, I mean, you have everything on there. I mean, there's just all the genres. I think witches, you had the vampires, you had fae, you had everything in there, and which was really cool.
It's all the stuff I like, yep. Write what you know. I'm really big into mythology, folklore, and I tie all that into what I'm learning. Oh, you're welcome, Jamie. So I just wrote a book that I'd want to read, but it's definitely a lot of fun.
Well, and I think isn't the way you did, I mean, isn't that the perfect reason to do it? Is just, it's, especially if somebody like yourself, luckily you can't blush on the screen, you're gratuitous, compliments. When you have that ability and that talent to write, and it's something that you want to read, but it's not out there. It's amazing that it's an amazing gift to be able to just do that. It's like, I'm going to be able to write the story that I want to read. And you did it. I mean, I said, that's fantastic. I mean, I'm not really sure where else to make it more of a compliment than just, I think you really did an amazing job.
Well, thank you. I just recently released a episode story on Kindle Villa called The Darkness and the Dawn. That is a little bit different. It's kind of in the Tapestry of Worlds world, but it's more of a fae vampire story. But you see some of the old characters come back into it. It's just a little bit different, and I'm excited to be doing that.
And that's for anybody that doesn't, it's not like really, it's going to plug it for kind of your stuff. Could you explain that, what it is? Because it's fairly new, the Kindle Villa.
Yeah, it's a beta program they're doing in the United States, Amazon's doing. And it's basically where you pay by episode. So like the first 3 episodes of a novel or book series will be up, and those 3 are free. You don't have to pay to read those, but if you want to continue the story, you'll get some tokens and pay to read as the next episodes are uploaded. So some of the authors have put them all out there at once, and then you have people like Jeff and Alan and I all did it, and we're just doing them. I'm doing mine weekly. I think Alan's doing his weekly, and I don't know, I think maybe Jeff is too. But it's kind of one of those, you just kind of build as you go, and then Kindle Villa offers you the if you want to take it off and publish it, you have you give them like a couple of months and you can do that. So it's a great way if you're testing out a story to kind of see if there's any interest in it.
Yeah, because as you're saying that, I was just looking. Some people here had 37 episodes and 42, 54. And there's other ones that have 5.
Yeah, like I've got 4 that you can read right now, and then I'll have another one that'll be downloaded on Sunday, and then the following Sunday there'll be another episode. And it's just kind of a way to build that up.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's that's a really cool thing too. It's just the way for everybody to have
Well, you have a lot of authors who are doing something like that on Patreon or on their own website, or I think there's some apps that do that sort of thing too, and Amazon's just taking advantage and they're honing it in and making it theirs.
Yeah, that's Joey was just on there. He's going to use it monthly for short stories and then gather them once a year into a book.
That's awesome. But it's a neat thing like that. So,
yeah, I think it's like what you're saying, like his Stanton Chronicles. I think that would be actually, almost the perfect way, because the Stanton Chronicles, there's so many short stories that you can craft in. I mean, and I'm trying to walk a fine line without spoilers on the books, but it would be in the tapestry, it's kind of in that same way. You'd be able to tell so many of these little side stories.
Well, and that's the way I wanted to write the stories. Is the way I see it in my head is like a fictitious town where everyone knows each other, and you might see, Chris at the store and talk to him, or you might go 5 years without seeing Chris, but then Chris shows back up and everybody knows who Chris is. So it's just like real life where people come and go, and that's how I want the stories to kind of flow together.
Yeah, and I think, like I said, it really did, and I think that's where, that's where, like that villa, I think that's what's going to be really cool for a lot of people, because there's so many different things whereas in like a book, you have to edit it down. You can't have this, I'm going to piece this up. Where now, if you want to do a little side tangent, like how this witch got to this point, now you can do this completely. It looks like this will give you that ability to write this whole side story over this character that you wouldn't have been able to, that had to hit the cutting room floor. It had to be cut out because it just, for space, for editing. I mean, I'm trying to make it sound like I know what I'm doing for editing.
You're doing great.
So that looks like that's going to be pretty. This, Joey's rising tide lifts all boats. Yep, that's exactly it.
Well, that's the thing about authors is no one author can satisfy one reader. One reader requires constant stimulation, and you can't write enough to satisfy that person's curiosity and their need to read more. So by writers working together and lifting each other up, it only benefits the reader and each other.
It's really nice to hear you say that too, because I feel like it's one of those, beating a dead horse type thing, when it keeps saying it, but it's the fact that the more we help each other out, the more, having you on the show, having somebody else, inviting us on the show, it's only going to help all of us out, because I'm just as happy to talk about you guys as our show, because I said, I honestly, Joey and Tanya, April, Chaz, you, I mean, everybody, I like promoting you guys just as much, because I actually have come to bring you guys in as actual friends, and not just people that, are clicking on the show. When I start seeing everybody, Mona, I start seeing all these people as regulars. It's like I start to feel like it's a friend group and not just names on a screen that are flashing, statements.
Exactly. And, just from what I have experienced talking with you, talking with Mark, talking with Joey and Tanya, y'all are all great people. And
appreciate it.
It's a pleasure to get to know y'all, and I'm happy to tell everybody on the planet to check y'all out, and I watch your shows. You see me pop in sometimes, and I'm very interested. You'll have, I know that little man, but the gentleman that you had on from Hawaii, I was fascinated by his episode.
Oh yeah, Lupaka.
I would love to talk to him.
Kapanui. He is an amazing, if it's one of those things, I mean, if you would like, I'd be more than happy to shoot an introductory email off for you.
Oh, thank you.
Because that's what I was saying. I'm glad to, like you said, with, I'm trying to, I think it was Joey and Tanya interviewed him first, and I asked him, I was like, I don't think it was Joey. I think it was Sean Whittington, the paranormal pastor. I think that's who I saw him on here, and I asked him if it would be okay, because I said, I've kind of got that from Joey and Tanya as well, where it's for me, I feel like that's common courtesy to not, it doesn't feel like you're pirating other people's guests when you actually talk to them. It's like, hey, would you mind if I interview them? Because this is a fantastic, group. And I said, I really want to, interview this person and his story. I mean, that one about the girl upstairs is just,
yeah.
I mean, every time I've heard it 3 times now, and each time I'm still like the whole time.
Yeah.
I'm like, here comes a good part. Here comes a good part. Read the story again. Yeah, because everybody has that same reaction when they have that outrage when it's like, oh, the parents are upset, because she's not interested in guys, she's alternative, it's like, oh, how could they be so, cold, so shallow? And then you realize that that's not her name. It's just, it's one of those, it's like the absolute awesome plot twist. It's just like flips it over and you're like, wow, I didn't even see it going that way at all. I mean, I was
just thinking about it.
Yeah. And that was the part so when, Joey just put, he had such a chiller in that teenage, and that was the one. That's why Joey said, he was like, I was hesitant to, because you guys asked the same question. I'm like, no, trust me, you have to have this one on your show, because every time the story's done, it doesn't matter how many times you hear it, it's coming, but it still has, like I said, you get that tingles because it's still that same. And I think that's what makes such an amazing storyteller. And it
does. Well, yeah. It's just like you had asked me about getting Joshua on your show. Mm-hmm. And I want Joshua's work out there. I want people exposed to it. I want people to know more about Joshua and all the cool research he's doing. So, to me, it's all about being able to help him too, by connecting him with you. It helps you, it helps him. It's a great system that we're in, because it only builds each other up. Like you said, it's really great.
Yeah. And it was the same thing. It just, as we're getting connected with you, it's like, I'm getting more and more. It's like looking here and I'm watching your show. I won't lie. I've actually taken some pointers, from your show. Part of my show, I actually crafted based off of your guys' interview with him.
Really?
Yeah. And so it's one of those, I'm not, it kind of a little inside baseball is I wish I could credit who I learned this from, but the biggest thing is like, I'll watch your show. I'll watch a couple other shows that I can find. And my goal is to find the questions and kind of craft the question to how it hasn't been asked. Like what hasn't been asked on these shows.
Well, that conversation with Joshua, with me, that was, I had a list of questions we never got to. Yep. That was just me and him talking, because he fascinates me. I told him before the show, I'm totally fangirling because you're interested in all the stuff that I have been thinking and putting together on my own for years. So it's just crazy.
And I want to say, talking with Joshua and listening to your show and stuff has made me even more excited to get over to Ireland and Scotland.
I know, right? Did you watch the videos of him?
Yes.
I want to go. I think you're right that we should do it like a whole group and go.
Yeah, I mean, it's because I have a heritage connection to it. I have the Scottish flag right here.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I said I really want to get there, and so so when as we were doing these stories, I'm like, ooh, this is just, I mean, how, in a big world, all of us just somehow get to have as this internet family, we get to have a big meet and greet, and all of us get it. We're almost going to need a charter bus for all of us to go to these locations.
But that's how you do it.
Yeah.
You go with a group of people, and then, people who want to do one thing, because I had some friends that they would do this with a group of their friends, and like they went to Disney, and like someone would want to go scuba diving, and so this other couple's husband would want to go scuba diving, and the girls would want to go shopping, and so they just all kind of mix up and do what those people thought were most time worthy for them.
Yes. Yeah. And that's the thing. Because I want, between the fairy rings, all this stuff, there's just so many things that I want to see. I mean, Joey's like, you guys can do the Scottish escape room. I'm like, that'd be actually pretty awesome. I don't know. We have to wear a kilt, because I
don't know if I could do an escape room.
Get a claustrophobic, anxiety.
I didn't think I was, but I got stuck in the elevator at work one day, and it came really fast that no small places. Mm-mm.
Yeah. I could say I'm not sure if like an escape room. I mean, it depends on where if part of it you were trapped, like something like in a closet type thing. But I think just in a room itself, it wouldn't be as bad. But I think the elevator. I think your mind goes, especially depending on what floor you're on, your mind would definitely race of like all the things that could happen.
I think it had more to do with the fact that I knew it'd probably be 6 hours before the handyman came to fix it.
Oh yeah, Were you playing the elevator game?
No, it was a 3-story building. Our maintenance was horrible.
That was, kind of, well, see, this is the way my mind goes. Have you ever watched the show Evil?
Yes.
Have you watched the second season yet?
I have not.
Oh, you got to watch the second season. They do an episode on the elevator game.
Okay.
No, for anybody that hasn't watched Evil, you got to watch it from the beginning and then get to the second season. They have upped their game on the second season. It is really well done. I will think like the intro for Game of Thrones, how the books would open, they had those fold open scenes. Evil does that with each episode now. They have the character George, the demon that came. It's like the crypt keeper now. He's doing like a little intro, but he opens up the chapter book for the show that time, and it's one of those it's like a fold up pop-up book.
Oh, cool.
That does like they're really well done. I mean, they upped their money game and for this show, and they put some money into the special effects, and it's really well done. I really like how they've done those changes, and so the storyline so far has been pretty well done too. I like it.
I like the first season. I like stuff like that though. That's
Leland's a good character for anybody. So that's so it's he's in this one a lot too. So yeah, so I recommend that if you haven't watched it, watch the second season, and that's also another one you guys could do on your show too.
Well, one of the things we've talked about is doing some docuseries, and what we do is Alan picks a movie, Jeff picks a movie, and I usually pick a movie, and just kind of we review those. But we were talking about maybe doing some documentaries as well, because we watch those too, because we're nerds. We like to do the stuff.
I agree. I fit right in there too, because that's me. I definitely would refer to myself. I'm not the completely obsessed cinephile. I really like movies, but I couldn't tell you, everything down to the production assistants. This person worked on this movie. I can't do that. But when it comes to movie quotes, I can speak fluent movie quote.
But one of the things we're going to do, we're going to have a panel, which you hooked me up with a lady for it, Villa.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, yep, Varla Ventura. Mm-hmm.
And we've moved that to, I think we're going to do it in August now, because nobody had time to watch all 4 seasons of A Handmaid's Tale. But we're going to do a panel, an all ladies panel. Varla.
Yes.
So I'm super excited about that too. But we're just trying to keep things interesting and get people interested in reading and paying attention to different types of things.
Yeah, it's one of those, when you get her books, I said just the way they're all done it's almost like Grimm's fairy tales. They're just the way they're all written out. I really it's for anybody that likes pictures. There's lots of pictures.
Did you see our episode on Erie, Florida?
I don't know if I have or not. I think I'm definitely going to have to check it out, because I said, now that you said it, I think I do remember possibly
Mark
seeing
Muncy, that he was a great guest. I was actually not present there, but Scott and Jamie did it for me, and it was a great interview.
All right, yeah,
I'll
look that up. I'll look that up and I'll listen to that tomorrow at work.
Yeah, I think you'll like it. But he does a lot of different stuff. I mean, anything that happened in Florida, he did. He's covered it from the boys' school up around Marietta. Is it Marietta? Where the boys' school is, that they had all that trouble with the bodies. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think so. Yep.
Yeah, he went there and he talks about that, and it was just some crazy stuff. But yeah, I really enjoyed that episode with him.
Yeah, I'll listen to that one because like I said I definitely want to. And Jamie was just like, that was a lot of fun. He was fascinating to talk to.
He's a really good storyteller.
And I think that's, like Lupaka Kapanui, he's one of those. It's such a lost art for the great storytellers that when you encounter one like himself, it's amazing how captivating and just how long time just flies by when you're listening to these stories because they just flow so eloquently. I mean, they don't have to do the whole elaborate thing. It just through the voice, just telling the story, it's like it captivates you, and it's really fascinating. And when you encounter those people, and it's definitely one. I'll listen to that show tomorrow for sure.
You have to let me know what you think. I think I'll like it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's Gerald on YouTube. He was saying that was where you're talking about. That's in the Panhandle. South of. I'm going to butcher that one. Is it Dothan?
I think it's Dothan.
Dothan. Yeah, Dothan. Yeah, Alabama. Yeah, so that's. I'm fairly new to the South, so I've only been down here for 3 years.
Dothan, if I'm not wrong, is over where like one of the military. The helicopter army base is in Alabama.
Oh, okay.
I can't think of the name, but I think it's close to Dothan, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, that's a little yep. So yep, that's what it is. Yep, Dothan. Yep.
So where are y'all located in Florida? Are you
Winter Garden, right outside of Winter Garden, Florida. So it's kind of take Orlando and just shift a little bit to the west. And then we're right below Lake Apopka is what it is there. So we're just enough inland to where we're kind of isolated from the eye of the hurricane. So that's really pretty much the strongest one we could ever really get is maybe Cat 2. And that's Fort Rucker is what Gerald was saying.
Yeah, Fort Rucker, that's it.
Yep. So thank you for that,
thank you,
sir.
Gerald.
Yeah, appreciate that. Yeah, and everybody's giving me a hard time for bringing up Game of Thrones and the fact that R.R. Martin has deemed it not necessary to finish the last book. Yeah,
I read the books, and I hope he finishes it because that last season was such a disappointment for the fans of the show. That
for anybody that was watching those things, I mean, just how can you build up such great characters? And then it was almost like they just didn't care. It's like they had to wrap up storylines and they didn't care how they did it. The only thing they didn't do was Monty Python alien.
That's an accurate statement.
I mean, the only thing they didn't do was a Monty Python thing from Life of Brian and have the alien spacecraft just fly in and abduct Brian. That's the only thing that they didn't do. I mean, from the last one with the dragon can suddenly melt rock. It's like when did stone burn? And explode.
This is what a nerd I am. I watch those every season in preparation for the new release of the season. I would watch all the seasons before it, and I miss those dragons. But I won't watch it anymore because the last season was such a disappointment.
Yep. Yeah, it's just everything. You knew how it was.
The magic.
You knew how
with the series.
Well, it is kind of like how it turned in. This is Game of Thrones talk with Hadley Thorne and Craig on the Three Beards podcast. Yeah, we for me it's just you build up the White Walkers. It's such this behind the scenes hidden threat. They're finally making their appearance, and then it was just like it was almost like the Lord of the Rings in the final battle scene. It's just like they had to wrap it up, and so they just like put it on fast forward.
Yeah.
And you're like, wow. I mean, it's such a build up, and all of a sudden it's over. You're like, okay. I'm like, wow, that was really a letdown. You expected so much more, and then it's. I mean,
well, there are so many things they built up like those red priestesses. I really thought Melisandre was going to return with the army of the red priestess, and it was just her on a horse.
Yep.
It's like, what the heck?
Yeah, they got lost. She they took the wrong turn. She just ended up, it's like, I don't know. Yeah, we're gonna all break into headaches, from the fact that it's like we feel like we've wasted all these years of our lives watching the show for the end, and you're just like, oh my god. Yeah, that's another one. Yeah, I think you guys could have a really good time, with talking, ripping apart the final season.
Oh no.
Yeah,
I don't think we could do that. I think it would get ugly. It would get ugly fast.
Yeah, it was. Game of Thrones literally was a zombie story, especially with the walkers. I don't know. It was such a build-up.
The first season, the first scene in the first show was the White Walker, and even in the book, I mean, it is a terrifying scene, and it just kind of fell apart.
Yeah, it was just across the board. I mean, everything from it just the way they handled everything. It was kind of like they just literally didn't care anymore. They're just like, we've got all these storylines we got to wrap up. All right, just put them all in this next half hour, and we'll just finish them. And you're like, oh, yeah, it just brutal. But yeah, it's kind of thing. This guys, really, if you haven't, you've got to go watch Weird Reality. This is the kind of the talk that they have. And I said, I think I would really enjoy. I appreciate an invite. I think that would be a lot of fun. Get on there and talk with you guys.
Well, so, you and the other two beards will have to come. We'll have fun.
Yeah, definitely. Please, Ghostbusters. I'm all over that. I love that movie. I'm looking forward to the new one coming out. I'm hoping that they do it justice.
Yeah, the one with the ladies, I wasn't a fan.
No, I think if they didn't put it off so much as like a sequel, the way that they're trying to do like a reboot, I think if they'd just done it like another way, I think it would have worked better. But just me, it was one of those. It's like every time, if you ever watch a movie that tries to recreate like the sequel or the third one, try to recreate the magic from the first movie, and it never works.
Well, this is one of the problems that I personally have with Hollywood right now, is they are regurgitating a lot of stuff instead of finding something original.
Yeah.
And there's so much, and that's why Game of Thrones was so popular, is you're dealing with an author who's written an entire world versus doing another comic book movie or doing a remake of a classic. So
I think when you get to you're right, because when you get to the point of where it's all about checking boxes and not the story, is when it really kind of falls apart, because it just and then Sarah's like, oh my god, I'm obsessed with True Blood. Yeah, I watched that whole season. Whole season, all the seasons. I watched all those. I joked around that I just called it vampire porn. That was my nickname for the show.
My friend Gracie calls Felix my Eric.
Yeah. Well, Chastity said Lafayette. He was actually my favorite character, and for anybody who hasn't read the books, his character actually died off really fast in the book series.
Yeah. That character in the show was pretty much created for him.
Yeah, he was. I think he was one of the ones that made the show. It's one of those. I don't think it would have been anywhere near the same if it hadn't had that character, because it just,
and the dynamic between Eric and Pam, I love that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, it wasn't your sparkly vampires thing. It was more of an actual relationship. And that's what I like. So it was one of those. It's kind of like you didn't just have the classical thing. This was something like a show. They all kind of have their pluses. They all have the little things where when they wrap it up, they're like, But it was, I think that one, probably out of all of them, I think that one kind of finished on, I believe the way history things, I might have a different idea if I will rewatch it again, but I feel like they did that show pretty well.
Yeah. It didn't hurt you or make your brain hurt.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
The Sopranos,
exactly.
when it ended, there was a lot of upset over how The Sopranos ended.
Yep. Yeah. Yes. One, I mean, kind of a little side note. I think probably also one of the other ones that was one of the worst ways of was Seinfeld, the last episode of Seinfeld. If anybody's ever watched that, is that was one of the worst where they're all just sitting there in the jail cell type thing. They just mailed that one in. They mailed that in on that ending of the show. But yeah, I'm looking at the time. It's this thing isn't that amazing how fast an hour goes?
I told you I'm a talker.
Yeah. Yeah.
You get down 100 bunny holes when you talk to me because it's just how the brain works.
And you were nervous before said that's.
I was nervous until your technical difficulties. I had to work really hard.
So real quick before we talk about her stuff, for everybody behind the scenes, I'm over here apologizing. I'm like, oh my God, I don't understand what's going on. She can hear me, I can't hear her. Nothing's going on. Chris can't, and we're just the whole time, and I'm just like, we worked so hard to get her back on, and here it is, my end, like the technical side, and I just can't get it. I'm just like, oh, but we got it. We got it figured out. I'm not sure what I did, but I got it.
Well, I told you that it made me feel good to see I'm not the only one who sometimes have these problems.
Yes.
So, and also you need to get some sage, so the next time you have somebody on talking weird stuff, you can sage your computer or your phone.
Yeah, and Alan, I'm sorry that you took the night off to watch that last finale, because that's one of those things you realize how much money you lost to watch that godforsaken episode that should never even made it out of the can. Should have just stayed locked away and put in the vault. And they should have just said, "Hey, we technical difficulties." So I feel for you. I feel for you. And if you've never seen that one, Mona, don't. That's just don't. No. That's like episode 1 through 3 of Star Wars. Just don't. Just pretend they don't exist. Hayden Christensen, just don't even enter in the thing of his image as Vader. Just don't do it. Just don't. So there's yeah, you're welcome, sir. Yeah, he's like, yeah, thank you. Joey, appreciate great conversation. Yeah, that was. We had a lot of fun. So everybody, you need to go to Weird Realities on Facebook, on YouTube, subscribe, watch these, just please support them, watch the shows. Fantastic content. They do an amazing job. And I said, if you had fun listening to this, you're going to have fun listening to the show, because this is the type of thing. They just do a much better job at it. It's just not so. I recommend it highly. So go to Amazon.com. I'm going to share here on the screen here so people can see it. One, go to her website, HadleyThorne.com. Right here. Also, Amazon.com. We're talking about, you have right here. Buy.
I would say that my website is probably outdated. So find me on Facebook.
Yeah, find her on Facebook. Okay, so give her a second on the website. Yeah, definitely follow on Amazon. Whenever, in case anybody ever says, why isn't it followed? I'm not logged in on the computer here because I really don't want all that information up here. But yeah, so it's just click follow, buy these. You can have these things tonight, read them tonight. They're excellent book, Tapestry of the Worlds. Really recommend those. They're, like I said, what else can I say? You did an amazing job on those.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
And then pretty much she's bored and looking for another tab here, as you can see.
Well, I try and put all of our hosts on their Twitter accounts on there so people can follow them. Because we've got a really good panel of people, and they deserve credit. And also, I wanted a shout out to Lauren Smith with Nite Callers Productions. She's one of the main people who helped me get started, and without her, we would not be here.
And you guys have some amazing, like here's that Nite Callers Production. You guys have some amazing artwork on here. You guys are.
And that's a shout out to Jonathan Dodd. He is the artist that I work with. He did the book covers, and he's done all of our art. And that is awesome. That's the latest one he did, and it's for Watching Weird.
That's awesome. Yeah, and that's I said, if you guys haven't done, you got to watch that show. You got to watch that show. That's said, you guys do an amazing job on that. So but Hadley, I can't thank you enough for bearing with us with all of those technical issues.
Well, thanks for having me, Craig. And like I said, definitely going to do Ghostbusters and have you on our show.
Okay, I appreciate that, because that's one of my all-time favorite ones. I can't even think how many times I've watched that movie. I mean, it's just. I mean, even my son, when he was little, he was, whoa, nice shooting, Tex. And so I mean, that's just, I love it. It's fantastic. So
tell the other two beards, I hate that I did not get to speak with them.
We'll make that up to you. We'll have you back on.
Awesome.
If you have, so like I said, hopefully we will be without the technical difficulties. So, whatever we need to do, like I said, like you said, the sage, the Palo Santo, we'll get it out, try to figure out, get the gremlins out of this thing. So, but we had a great time. So everybody, like I said, please go support Hadley Thorne. You can look them up there you can go all podcast platforms. You can listen to the podcast that way. You can, like I said, there's many ways to do it. Great show, great conversations, and you will not be sorry you did. So. All right, so everybody, you're about to watch an incredible train wreck of exit things here, because I'm not used to doing this myself. So it's one of those, so bear with it. Hadley can have a good laugh as I'm doing this too here. So here, this show was brought to you by Nanny Cakes 407 on Facebook, or give her a phone call at 407-923-2898. Mention 3 Beers, and you're going to save 15% on your cake order in the Central Florida area. Outside of there, can't really get a cake. It's not real easy to ship, but she could probably figure out something for you if you wanted to do that. Check us out on all social media, and we are support for the show. I showed you their page for support them as well. Go to redbubble.com, Weird Realities, to support Hadley and the team, or once you're done there, then while you got your card open, you can go to 3 Beards podcast page. And then
speaking of, I've got my 3 Beards shirt on tonight.
Oh, that's awesome. Really appreciate that. That's very cool. That means a lot. So how is it? Is it comfortable?
It is. It's really soft.
Good. That's said. The print quality looks good, because I know Austin said it looked good on his tank top, even though he ordered it wrong, and he got the logo on the back. So what can we say? He said, but he ordered another one, and he said it was great there too. So that's so good. I'm glad so thank you for doing that. That really means a lot. I'm not sure if we lost her. Did we lose her?
No, I'm still here.
Oh, okay, good.
I'm just waiting for you to do your next little ad.
I was like, oh, the gremlins got her now too. All right, we're rebroadcast every Thursday night at 10 p.m. Courtesy of J&J Beard Company. Go download the Xeno Radio app, and we're rebroadcast on Patriot Radio. So I said, go thank them for being willing to put us on there. Everybody, just social media, just like, subscribe. We're pretty much everywhere. Even TikTok is there. Even we haven't really done much, but we're on there. But with everything, like I said, Hadley Thorne, thank you so much. Appreciate it. We're done. Oh, and tell the doggos bye. They're saying goodbye. They're in the background.
I put them up. They're just big dogs, but
yep.
Great.
We're all huge animal lovers here too. Like I said, we all have dogs. So I said, I've got 2 Labradoodles downstairs being quiet, luckily. So, all right, everybody, thanks for watching. We will see you next week. We got a couple of other great shows lined up for you. So thanks again, everybody. Have a great night.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.